Hello everyone and welcome back to another race preview. This time we are going into the Spanish Grand Prix and we are going to break it down. I'm here with my co-host Enzo the Bear and we're going to tell you everything you need to know going into the Spanish Grand Prix. But before we get into the race preview, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's weekly F1 content, previews like this, live streams after the race, and videos any week there aren't F1 races. And with that, let's dive in. We had an absolutely crazy race in Canada last time out, arguably the best race of this season and last season. The only race that even came close to the one in Canada was Singapore last year, which wasn't really even that close because Canada was just that amazing of a race. We saw change in leaders, we saw safety cars, we saw rain during the race, we saw everything we needed to, and of course, Max Verstappen ended up on top. Now this time it actually wasn't that disappointing because he did it on pure talent. He showed us, not even having the fastest car, that he can still find a way to win. So congratulations, Max. As for the standings right now after Canada, Max Verstappen and Red Bull pulled further away from Ferrari because, well, Ferrari had that awful double DNF. Max is now leading Charles Leclerc by even more, and in the Constructor Championship we saw Red Bull gain a little bit as well. Norris, having finished in second position, also made up some space to Charles Leclerc, but the standings as of now still stand Max Verstappen first, Charles Leclerc second, and Lando Norris in third. Now let's get into Barcelona, which is where the track for the Spanish Grand Prix is held. This is a great circuit which has a mix of low speed, medium speed, and high speed corners. It's such a great all-around track that it has previously been used as the pre-season testing for the F1 Championship. Now of course we know that this honor goes to Bahrain, but before it was Bahrain it was Barcelona, so you know this track has a little bit of everything. Drivers love the circuit because it requires a blend of talent and technique. Whereas fans aren't the biggest fans of this circuit because there's very little opportunity for overtaking. They tried to address this issue last year when they took out the chicane going into the final corner, leaving a very long run up to a long start-stop straight where you can also have DRS and hopefully challenge the car ahead of you. This hopefully will give drivers even more of an opportunity to overtake at this circuit, but they're going to need a high top speed to hope to make these moves stick. And here are just some fun facts about the Spanish Grand Prix, which is held in Catalunya. The Spanish Grand Prix has found its home in Barcelona, who has hosted the circuit since 1991. Once again, we have Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton as the most successful drivers in Barcelona, each having won the Spanish Grand Prix a total of 6 times. Ferrari are the most successful team at the Spanish Grand Prix, having won it 12 times as a team. And pole position is extremely valuable because 24 race wins have come from drivers that were sitting P1 to start the race. Now, if we're talking about pit strategy, last year, Max Verstappen had a grand slam of a weekend. He had pole position, he led every lap of the race, he had fastest lap, and he won the race. All in all, an absolutely perfect weekend. He decided to opt for a 2-stop strategy, as did Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, who were alongside him on the podium. In fact, every single driver decided to opt for a 2-stop, because it's very high temperatures in Barcelona and the tire degradation is also very high, which requires that extra stop to be able to be competitive and to go on tires that aren't as worn out. As for the upgrades, we have a lot of teams that have promised to be bringing upgrades over these next 3 races, as we do have a triple header of Barcelona, Austria, and Silverstone. One of the lesser talked about teams is the VCarb. Now, VCarb may just be the most competitive of the second tier teams, closely followed by Haas, but I would give it to VCarb, and they have promised to be bringing some upgrades this weekend as well. Although they do have overall pace, they're clearly lacking in the high-speed corners, and they're bringing a package this weekend that they hope is going to combat some of this pace difference and bring them closer to the teams ahead of them, such as Aston Martin. Aston Martin is actually bringing parts as well. In fact, I think they've brought the most parts out of any team so far this season. It just hasn't truly correlated to on-track performance. With the package they're bringing this weekend, they're hoping to unlock more pace and be closer to the 4 teams ahead of them. Red Bull are also said to be bringing some upgrades to Barcelona. They're hoping to fix some of the issues that they have with their suspension, which we noticed that on some tracks with very high curbs can be quite an issue for that car. However, in Barcelona, the curbs aren't that high and they will be strong regardless of if they bring this upgrade or not, so I do see Red Bull dominating regardless of this upgrade. McLaren are bringing some upgrades as well, but since Miami, when they had their last big upgrade, they have been incredibly quick as a car. They're also said to be bringing upgrades over the next couple weekends. Like I said, here in Barcelona, in Austria, and in Silverstone, which is their home race, and Lando Norris's home race as well. Ferrari hope to bring an upgrade that's going to help with the issues they currently have with the heating of the tires. A new floor is reported to be coming in, which should help with the car's pace. Mercedes, who had their best race of the season so far in Canada, are also said to be bringing upgrades over the next couple race weekends leading up to Silverstone, which is their home race and both of their drivers' home race as well. This weekend they should have a new floor in place, which should be bringing them some extra pace. There's been talks of some issues with their flexi wing. We'll see how that all plays out. As for predictions, Enzo and I will be making a prediction video after the free practices are over, but early predictions before we see any on-track running is that Red Bull are going to be back to dominating form. We've seen the field be a lot closer over the last couple races, but I think here in Barcelona we're going to see classic Red Bull domination. They most likely won't be affected by their suspension issue they've had over the last couple of races, especially if they do bring some upgrades to combat this. So we'll see how things plan out, but I think Red Bull is going to be in for an easy win this weekend. Thank you guys for watching this quick race preview. Make sure to subscribe and tune in because we will be doing some pre-race predictions right after the free practices are over. Thank you guys again, and if you did enjoy it, make sure to give this video a like and share it with your friends. More F1 content every week, so stay tuned. Thank you guys, and see you next time.